So lately I've been getting the question from Christians wondering if Christians should engage in politics. And I think that this question probably stems from Christians seeing just how much division and chaos this political season has caused. And they're starting to question if it's worth it or if we even should be involved in politics in the first place. I've been hearing more Christians lately saying that we should just stay out of politics and just preach the gospel. Now, while I do appreciate the elevation of the gospel to be above politics, I still disagree with the conclusion. The truth is, politics affect the way that society functions by dictating the laws that we have. So that means politics include the discussion if we should even be allowed to preach the gospel in the first place. In most of the other countries in the world, they don't even have the ability to openly preach the gospel without severe consequences. So in this way, we in the West are blessed to have a privilege that other Christians in the world would simply die to have. So when it comes to politics, this means that if evangelism and speaking openly about Christ is important to us, then it's also important for us that are Christians to be involved in politics in order to fight for and to protect this. Now, with that being said, there are some ways that engaging in politics can be a problem for Christians. Politics become a problem for the Christian if we find ourselves having a far greater passion and love for politics than we do for Christ and the gospel. Now, we have to guard our hearts because it becomes too easy for us to identify more with a political party than with Christ without even realizing it. Paying attention to the things that we tend to focus on the most is how we can tell where the true God of our heart really lies. Whatever our attention fixates on the most and whatever we have the most passion and zeal for. Focusing on what those things are can show us how our loves may have gotten all out of order. Because if there's a point that politics have become the Christian's main focus and passion, then there's a point at which politics have become an issue for us that are Christians. Not only that, but politics will end up being the leading factor that dictates our decisions and our reactions more so than the gospel and God's word and how they impact our decisions and our reactions. Another way that politics can become a problem is if they mess up our witness. Because of how emotionally charged and divisive politics have become today, if people see you as a political symbol, or if they see one on your car, your clothes, or your lawn, or whatever, this might actually serve as a stumbling block for your witness. The reason why is because people who don't share your political persuasion may not even give you a chance to preach the gospel to them, because as soon as you approach them, then what they see is all of the baggage that they've been told about your political party and the baggage that that party carries. So in this way, your political persuasion might be a stumbling block to your voice to witness to somebody else. So that's just something to keep in mind, because what we present to people the most might be the thing that people will remember us by the most. So personally, at the end of my life, the thing that I want people to remember about me is not my political position or even me for who I am, but instead I want people to remember me for Christ and who He is. I want more people to remember what the gospel means for their life because of what God allowed me to do with my life. So just remember that each day we make a decision about how we want to be remembered, so choose wisely. So with that being said, again, it's not bad for Christians to be in politics, and in fact, I think that Christians should be in politics. But what happens if we are engaged in politics and we vote on things that are important to us and we still lose our ability to preach the gospel? Well, if that's the case, then we would be in a position more like the first Christians were in, and also the position of most Christians in most of the other places in the world today. Even if we do find ourselves in that position one day, and it does become illegal for us to preach Christ, then when it comes to this, the law still won't stop us from doing it. We'll still preach Christ no matter what the laws say, but we also know that with that, we need to be prepared to suffer the consequences for doing so, whatever they are. So even if this does become the case, which it will one day, and if we're still here when it happens, then I pray that God will allow us to be brave enough to endure the worst of consequences as we continue to tell people about the good news of the gospel. When it comes to these consequences, to see just how bad it can get, take a look at this video where I talk about what they're doing to pregnant Christian women in North Korea. I'll see you over there. But the next time that someone tells you that Christians shouldn't be engaged in politics, what are you going to say? What do you mean?